You're watching Pulse for the 19th or 20th of October, and it's time for some StarCraft news. In this week's episode, we take a look at the third and no doubt final Heart of the Swarm unit tease from Blizzard, this one for Protoss. We have a look at what's in store for us at this year's BlizzCon, some talk about GSL, MLG and ESWC, the return of StarCraft Universe, TotalBiscuit's ShowCraft, and more. Let's get started. We're going to start the StarCraft news off with what is no doubt the most interesting. Blizzard are once again at it. They're teasing with yet another new StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm unit. We've seen the Terran silhouette, we've seen the Zerg silhouette, and now it's Protoss's turn. Have a look at this. As with the other two, I honestly have no idea what this could be, but everyone seems to have their opinions and there are many concepts out there. Some of them pretty good and very creative, and some of them just straight up funny. What I will say is that a lot of people are getting caught up by the fact that this looks a lot like it could be an air unit. A lot of votes are actually going towards it being some sort of new interceptor, but I very much doubt that's the case. I honestly think this could well be a ground unit. I mean, we gotta keep in mind it's got that funny glowing ball of energy in the middle there. Some people actually had some pretty creative thoughts. Maybe it's some sort of mobile shield generator for Protoss. So something like a Protoss Medivac. I'm not even sure if that'll work, but it sounds interesting. My personal favorite idea, the new Protoss Croissant unit. Yes, that is a bit of a laugh. Anyway, I urge you all to head on over to the Team Liquid forums to check their post about this out. There are polls over there which will tell you that most people think this unit comes from the Stargate, and most of them also think it's an air spellcaster. It's possible, but I think we're all gonna have to wait till the Heart of the Swarm multiplayer panel at BlizzCon this Friday to actually find out. Let me know what you guys think about this unit below. What do you think it's gonna be? I'm quite keen to hear your thoughts on it. But now, moving along. In the first of our tournament and event news, we're going to have a talk about BlizzCon, and more specifically, the Global Battle.net Invitational. Blizzard have a post up titled, "What is the Global Battle.net Invitational?" That'll tell you pretty much everything about the StarCraft 2 version of the Battle.net Invitational. We don't really care about the World of Warcraft one in this episode. So, the maps that are going to be played are the following: Xel'Naga Caverns, Shakura's Plateau, the Shattered Temple. That's actually a map we haven't been seeing very much recently. Antigua Shipyard and Abyssal Caverns. First place is $50,000, second place $25,000, and third place $10,000. Blizzard also let us know that the two teams of shoutcasters for the event will include Autosis, Tasteless, Day 9, and JP McDaniel. Now the competitors. From North America we've got Select and Sheth. Then from Europe, Ret and Naniwa. From Russia, Dimaga and Bratok. From Latin America, there's Terran and Killer. From Korea, we've got the mighty Nesty and MVP. From Taiwan, there's Sen and Niffy. From Southeast Asia, we've got Moonglade and Jazzbass. And lastly, from China, we've got Lona and Tude Ming. Those are indeed some really good players, and I can't wait to see them duke it out. We gotta keep in mind that the GSL finals are also happening there, and funny enough, MVP is actually playing in those too. He could potentially make himself a ton of money this weekend. So if any of you guys are planning on buying the virtual ticket this weekend to watch absolutely all the action, then that's great. But if you don't want to spend the money on the virtual ticket, you will still be able to watch the tournaments free of charge. So below you can find a list of those competitors, and as a few extras, you can check out the BlizzCon Global Finals on Team Liquid. You can have a look at the player profiles of everyone taking part in the Invitational. I will tell you to pay specific attention to Nesties, because Blizzard do actually reference Tastosis in there, and it's pretty awesome. Then you can read rumors about Blizzard inviting Bisu, Jaedong, Jangbi, and Fantasy to BlizzCon 2011. If you didn't know, those are some pretty big name StarCraft Brood War players, and rumor has it that Blizzard are trying to tempt them into StarCraft 2. But I've said enough already. You can read more about all of that below, and be sure to catch that Invitational this coming weekend. Next up, time for the GSL updates, of which there aren't really that many. As I said just a moment or two ago, the Code S finals are being played live at BlizzCon this coming weekend, and if you forgot, MVP is facing off against MMA. Those are both Terran players. Other than that though, Group A and B of the up and down matches have already been played, with Group C coming on the 20th, and that might well be today, depending on when this episode goes up. So thus far I can report that Gumiho, Oz and Yu-Gi-Oh are all going up into Code S, with Puzzle staying in Code S. Curious is the Code A winner, so he's getting the Code S spot, and MC is the MLG seed, who's also getting the Code S spot. We'll talk about MLG in just a bit. Zenio is going to be dropping out of Code A along with Hongang, Genius and Keen. Sage and JYP are staying in Code A. So sadly, that's pretty much all I've got for you in the GSL news. That shouldn't be a problem though, because there's MLG to talk about now. I will say right now, before starting though, if anyone didn't want any MLG spoilers, if you still wanted to catch those VODs and be surprised by them, then you should probably skip ahead a little bit. I'll put an annotation in for that. But here we go. Huck has managed to win MLG Orlando. He took down MC in the finals with a score of 4-1. Huck is actually the first person to win MLG twice. I won't go into too much detail about how he actually got there and who he took down along the way, but I will tell you some of my highlights of the event. Personally, I thought that Idra's path through the brackets was the most interesting. Idra's games against Boxer would probably have to be my games of the tournament, followed incredibly closely by Idra versus Bomber. Absolutely amazing games, and if you can find them somewhere, if you can check those VODs out, do it. Otherwise, if you want to see full coverage of the event, I recommend either ESFI World or Team Liquid. They definitely got everything there. Then, as a few extras, you can check out why Idra versus Boxer mattered. That's an article over at Major League Gaming. You can see a couple of photos from the event. You can read another article, this one over at Forbes, titled Nerd Chills for StarCraft, My Sport of Choice. Then you can have a look at a video that's backstage with Sundance. There are a couple of animated GIFs that were put together from the event. There's a video of Destiny playing piano at MLG Orlando, and I have to say he's actually incredibly good. Have a look at Barcraft for MLG Orlando at Boulder Beer in Boulder, Colorado. And lastly, my personal favorite, you can see how Husky and Day9 discovered the cheer cannon. Definitely worth having a look at. All of that and more can be found in the links below this video. Now, as if BlizzCon, the Global Battle.net Invitational, the GSL Finals, and everything else happening this weekend wasn't enough, the World Finals of the ESWC are also happening this very weekend. If you didn't know, that's the Electronic Sports World Cup, and yes, StarCraft 2 is included. It's happening from October the 21st to the 25th at the Paris Games Week in Paris, France. There are 48 top StarCraft 2 players from all over the world taking part in the finals, and that includes big names such as Stefano, Idra, Marine King, and many more. I won't be able to cover them all. They will be fighting it out for their share of $66,000 as well. You can check the full groups of the events below if you're interested, and you can have a look at who's going to be casting the event. On the English stream, Kaldor will be casting it with various other guests. I have no doubt that the finals are going to be incredibly exciting. Some people had a few complaints that there were pretty much only two really strong players in each group, so it was a little bit too obvious to see who was going to make it through, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see for that. Another thing I will just mention before finishing this piece of news off is that this is actually happening in a European time zone. So if you take this and couple it with BlizzCon, you could potentially be spending the entire weekend immersed in StarCraft 2. And I really do mean the entire weekend. But anyway, read more about that below. Now let's have a look at the tournament and event smalls. First up, you can read some rumors about MLG Canada. Yes, it might well be happening. You can read some results and information about the MLG Global Invitational. Then yet more rumors. Could we possibly be seeing StarCraft 2 in the Korean Pro League soon? Have a look at the first couple of selected or invited players for DreamHack Winter 2011. You can read how Dongregu took IEM New York. MC and Show are going to the Asus Republic of Gamers Stars invite. Read about the Megumi X-Bear Cup for October 2011. CSN has started a new cup series up, Play StarCraft. You can read about the High School Star League Season 1. Dark Force won Polifluke Oktoberfest and Panda Tank came in second place. And lastly, prepare yourself for a Slasher vs DJ Wheat StarCraft 2 show match. Now in the first of our community news, it seems like EG are at it again. Yes, Team Evil Geniuses is infamous for teasing people in the most creative of ways. So what do they have going now? Well, apparently it's not over. At least that's what the link says. The EG guys have this star system of sorts up on their website, and you can click on various points of it to watch some rather cryptic videos. And I don't really mean that the videos are cryptic themselves, I just mean that we don't really know how they relate to this announcement in any way. I wouldn't even be able to guess what all these videos linked on the star system on the website would mean, but I can tell you that some people on Twitter have sort of been spoiling things. I think. Apparently website EchoSun reports that players from EG will be staying at the Slayer's house. Now I'm not sure if that's part of the announcement that's been spoiled or if that's just temporary. Some people think that Quantic Gaming and EG are going to start up their own team house in Korea. Who knows, I guess that is possible too. Now if any of you guys have better luck than me decoding this, then I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Have you figured it out? Do you know if someone else has? If so, let me know below. Otherwise, we might well know what's going on in just a couple of days. You can read more about that below and find links to everything that I spoke about. Now next up in the community news, do you guys remember StarCraft Universe? Yes, that incredibly promising StarCraft 2 map or mod that we had a look at back in May. Well, it's not gone. These guys are still working really hard on it, and it's actually looking really impressive. They've released a new trailer, and this shows off the StarCraft Universe PvP. They let us know that as they promised us back in January, they're gonna have something for us to play while they're at BlizzCon this coming weekend. They do warn us that technically it's not even ready for open beta, but it is fully functional and fully enjoyable. After watching the full trailer, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with that, even though I haven't played it yet myself. So between October the 19th and October the 30th, we will apparently be able to test this game on the Battle.net servers. So that sounds really good, and if you want to read more about this, you can head on over to starcraftuniverse.org or just check the video out right here on YouTube. I gotta say, and I'll say it a million times, what they've done with the StarCraft 2 engine is absolutely amazing. Check it out and enjoy. Next up, TotalBiscuit has announced his new show to replace his daily ladder streams. It's titled, quite fittingly, ShowCraft. He said that it's going to be a StarCraft variety show, and it's going to feature some laddering, yes, but it's going to be unorthodox laddering. He's going to try have fun with the games he plays. That's not all though, there's going to be StarCraft shoutcasting of pro and amateur games. There's going to be a live quiz show that's going to be hosted on Skype. He's going to have coaching sessions on the show, Q&As and much more. It seems like he really is trying to make this something for everyone and something that everyone can enjoy. I absolutely can't wait to check it out, and I think it's a great idea. It's going to be airing Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 7 PM GMT, starting Monday, October the 24th. Now, as with before, one of the reasons for doing this would obviously be that he can fund his future events, like his ShowCraft Invitationals. So even just watching this can actually help out. Definitely worth it, you've got no excuse not to check it out. You can watch the ShowCraft announcement video right here on YouTube and hear the man himself explain it all. Before heading into the smalls, I thought I'd just show you this. It seems like the guys over at Google really like StarCraft 2. Yes, I don't blame them. Anyway, let's have a look at the StarCraft 2 community smalls. First up, a pretty touching story. Read about Spectral SC's StarCraft 2 charity drive. Spectral SC is a disabled StarCraft 2 player, and he was able to raise money by playing StarCraft 2 against various big names. I think he even played against Huck, Sheth, and he did a couple of 2v2s with Husky, among other people. And while doing all of this with all these big name players, he was able to raise all the money he needed and more. I for one am incredibly happy to hear the StarCraft community was as supportive as it was. Anyway, next up, read a Nada interview over at SteelSeries, a Lost Shadow vlog from Korea, and a Lost Shadow interview done by Ortosis. Then there's a White Raw interview, a Naniwa pre-BlizzCon interview, and then quite a few video interviews from IEM New York done by Gosu Gamers with various players. There really are lots of these. To name a few, there's Dongregu, Top, Mana, Strifecrow, Pokebunny, Shio, TT1 and many others. Then for all the Sean Plot fans out there, there are 2 Day 9 interviews to have a look at. You can check a PC Gamer interview out with Chris Medson. FXO and Wolf have parted ways. You can have a look at a new show that Moletrap and Diggity have set up, and in their pilot episode they have a Destiny interview. There's an important announcement that QXC had to make that you can have a look at below. Prime's new clothing website has opened. Then a couple of interesting posts from Team Liquid. You, with the Protoss shirt. Doodles included. What's your drive to play? Is the spoiler fear hurting esports? That specifically is one that I can really relate to. You should definitely have a look at that. You can have a look at a new app that's now available for iOS and Android called BuildCrafter. And lastly, the third Liquid shirt batch is on sale now. Sadly, that's all I have for you in the StarCraft news. I actually wanted to keep this episode shorter, as I said with the others, in preparation for BlizzCon, but that just didn't happen. All the news was just way too interesting and I had to cover it. You can, as always, find all the links that I spoke about below, and remember to like the video, favorite it, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Also, if you've got some time this weekend, try check out BlizzCon, the Battle.net Invitational, the GSL Finals, and everything else happening. Most importantly though, happy StarCrafting.